Hey Canada, there's something smoking new at Montana's. Beef brisket is now seasoned and then slow smoked in-house for 12 hours every day. Try it in our new Austin cheesesteak sandwich and other barbecue favorites. Only at Montana's, Canada's home for barbecue.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
How far do you have to travel to have an experience?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome once again to Curling Stadium's live coverage from the Montana's North Bay Mixed Doubles. 16 teams began play yesterday afternoon in a triple knockout event looking for one of 8 berths in the playoffs. We've got the 8 qualifiers this afternoon, and our feature matchup between Katie Ford, Oliver Campbell, and the Heggestad team, Heather and Cory Heggestad. My name is Shawn Joyce, happy to bring you all the action, and joined today by Marty Thompson for this game this afternoon. Marty, you know a little bit about these teams.
Yes, I've played them both in this circuit. Did lose to Ford Campbell 13-7 in the semifinal, which I only just looked up now, so I'm reminded of that, sadly. I didn't know the exact score. It's one of those where you just kind of blank. But yeah, 2 very competent teams. Obviously, the Heggestads with lots of experience, but I was really impressed with Ford Campbell when we played them. They went to the final there in Palmerston a few weeks ago. Very dynamic team, can throw some pretty big weight pretty accurately. You see this draw is maybe just going to come up a little short on them. We'll see exactly how far they can drag this. But yeah, I'm excited to see 2 teams here that certainly deserve to be in the playoffs here at this event in North Bay. And yeah, it'll be an interesting strategic game. As you can see there, the Heggestads looking for the draw there on the blue.
It's one of the things when you get to an event like this, you just never know how familiar the teams are going to be with each other. For instance, in the other A qualifying game, we've got 2 teams out of China. So you may be playing teams that you've never seen before. You've got to assume that 2 Ontario teams that are playing the circuit, they probably know each other a little bit too.
Yeah, there's always the kind of the sprinkling in. It's kind of what makes the Ontario loop interesting for me anyway, Shawn, is that you'll get teams from the US come up. You'll get, the odd team from Asia that are sort of like poking around the province. So it does make it at least a little bit, it does add some variety for sure. That being said, these are 2 teams that have been quite consistent on the tour. The Heggestads have actually played 2 events in North Bay as well, which is a little bit far out for some of the teams that are mostly based out of Southwestern Ontario. But it's good to get up there and get that experience that way for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember myself. I called a women's event here out of North Bay a couple of weeks ago, and I'm not so sure that Heather wasn't playing on a team there too.
Yeah, she might be. The wide path on the draw, but it looks like it should hook in pretty good. Lots of curl. I know that Cory doesn't throw, a heck of a lot of rotation or compared to others, but that does hook in pretty good. Nice little shape here for red.
Yeah, red's got angles on that blue stone both directions. It's one of those funny things that happens in the sport, not just in doubles, but it can happen in 4-player curling as well, that blue shot rock and yet red's in the better position.
Yeah. Well, more and more, the more you play around with doubles and the more experience you get, you realize that having a shot top 4 or having a rock rather that's top 4 that's not shot is almost as valuable as having shot stone. And this is a great example of that. You'll see teams now on that first draw, you kind of want to, boy, it'd be nice to get right to the pin, right? That makes sense. But almost being top 4. You don't even need to be shot, but as long as you're top 4 on that first shot, it allows the other team to potentially, promote yours and cause errors later on. But this just shows again that top 4 positioning, and that's a really good view there from the hack there, looking down as we see Ford Campbell attempting their shot. Just the options that you have when you do have a shot in the top 4, let alone 2. So looks like they're just going to try to come right around to it or something, right? Or try to guard this maybe?
I think they're trying to stagger the blue in the house just to take away the path to that. That redstone that was just delivered is the easiest way to get the blue out. They can see a piece of the red on the other side. They could make it that way too, but you can't take both of them away, I don't think, very easily with one shot.
Yeah, I think they're just guarding the easy one.
This is a tough spot for the Ford Campbell team to be in. Of course, and we should touch on this. We didn't mention it before, but there's a practice session before the game. Draw to the button for hammer, and the Heggestads have last rock here in the first end. I think if they're playing it from, as we look from behind the Heggestads, if they had to play the one on the right side, which is the one they can see a piece of right now, I still think it jams on the back. So you'd have to throw it with some weight. You're probably losing one of the reds at the top of the 4-2, because I think it's going to push it into the 2 of them and pop it out. So they guarded the one that, if you could play it from the other side, you could probably sit 3 because it clears the stone at the back if you could play the other one.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're wondering if there's a port. It doesn't look like it.
They're
looking at that side. Would you ever run the blue in?
Well, that's kind of
no port there.
You could end up just sending that the blue that Ford Campbell just shot into the bundle there.
Yeah,
because there's a couple ways for you to miss and still make it, and sort of clearing out. Even if imagine you sort of tick that top blue out, it might open up some things for you. I'm not sure exactly what they decided. I think their arrangement is that he still calls line, so this maybe is accurate if they were going to throw a hit, like he calls line from the hack.
Definitely set up for the intern, and you don't see too many lift like that on a draw.
Well, here we go. It looks like it's the run. This looks like a pretty nice sweep. Should be close. It's going to overcurl them slightly, maybe.
No, undercurl just a bit, but it picks that blue out of the top of the 12, and the shooter rolls just far enough, I believe, that he's got both shots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the right call, because I'd imagine the Heggestads were looking at it and saying, is there any way that it could really hurt us? And the answer was no.
No, if it curls up just a hair more, he drives it right onto the red, and he's probably sitting 3. As it is, he's got shots from both sides.
Yeah, and then it comes down to, again, what do you protect? You'd almost want to go about, or are you going to... Oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
I'm not seeing how you protect anything. I think you have to come to the pocket.
You could you come to the pocket in the top 4.
Yeah.
Well, if you do that, then they would still have something for probably 2, right? Like they could still come on one side and just poke. You only need to really just poke that red to the back, right?
Yeah, but you're not at last shot yet.
Yeah.
You still got 2 left. You better put this rock in a spot where you can use it on the next one, because there's going to be a shot for the Heggestads. You can't take away both.
Yeah, we should clear. This is Ford Campbell's second last shot here. Again, they don't have the hammer.
No, he's got to get a rock in a good spot here. Would you ever, and I don't think they talked about this, but I'm just looking at, you could come down and actually tap this when you're coming from this side, red onto the blue, because that blue is going to sit on the red at the back of the button, and then it won't be able to be removed.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yep.
Don't know that they discussed that, but you could certainly do that from this side.
Looks like I might be running just a little bit here, see if it hooks in. Oh, Oliver, yeah, right. It's moving now. Little wick off the guard would be all right too.
Yeah, this just doesn't have the weight. It's going to end up dead buried and take away nothing.
A tough spot, so the Heggestads can now really attack at this point. Because if you come on top of there, yeah, you could even roll open. That wouldn't be great, but if you can get as much of that red rock as you can, then
yeah, the better results off the other one.
Certainly.
You'd have to throw a rocket to get through that port, but he just did. So it's in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, wondering if they aren't looking at the other one just because. It's harder, but it's worth it.
I don't think the one on the right ever passes the red stone at the back, and if you're thin on the first one, it's kind of gonna go into the crotch. It's gonna kick the other one out in the open. It might leave a double.
And this is where the risk reward in doubles can be a little bit different than 4-person, right? So if you're
true enough,
if you're Heggestad, it's like, okay, well, yeah, that's maybe the safer one there that they're gesturing at now. But if you try the one on that slash there, just to sort of smash it in, if you pick the blue out, it's okay. You might even run the red that's on the right hand side into the blue. At the end of the day, you're going to have something at the end for potentially 2 points. And it's also important to mention that you can also play quite pragmatically in doubles as well. Like in this case, Ford Campbell has almost just been protecting this 1 point the whole time. And you kind of play with 1 point the same way in 4-person, you kind of play with a blank a little bit, right? You just kind of have it there as like a potential option, but you want to also have that opportunity to try to go after something a little bit more. So I think that's what the plan is try to come through, because if you make that perfect, you might be sitting 3 buried at least.
3 buried at least. Yeah. The hole is just kind of queued up, right? If you make the hole, you've made the shot. You can't miss it if you made the hole. And certainly we just saw him throw the weight. It's because it's a reverse stagger. He's got to throw a bullet to get through there, but he just did it like in pretty much the same spot.
Yeah, it's the right call. I'm glad they looked over at that side too, because yeah, I mean it's a little uglier, but it's worth more. So
it looks tougher because of the hole, but if you make the port, you've made the shot. The other shot, there's some. It's really always tough to tell from an overhead how solidly that jams on that back red. The blue might not even leave the 4-foot.
Yeah, it depends. And this will be Cory Heggestad's final stone here in this first end here in North Bay.
This looks good.
Oh, it's such a great line
looks
call.
Great.
That is perfect. What a great shot there from Cory Heggestad.
Now that rock that they put there on the last one is kind of in their way.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't make anything too nice. That
short was not the miss on that one, because he could have tapped. That hits. It's there. It's tough. Remember, this is now Oliver Campbell's done. This will be Katie Ford throwing this one.
Yeah, final stone here for this team. Just try to come through that same port they did and try to get rid of something. That curled a ton, eh? Like there's lots of good movement on that.
Yeah.
Considering it's obviously hard to tell on stream exactly how much weight it was, but considering how much action they got off those stones, I think that was pretty good weight. So this might even be slightly harder to get, unless they're going to play inside out, which I doubt, to really get to that point. But
yeah, I was just wondering that myself. You could play this with the out turn and just try to make the double. You lose your shooter, but that might be better than, I mean, you rub any of those rocks on the way by, it's a draw for 4.
Yeah, it's certainly tough to lean on an inside out in doubles, but looks like this is outside in. That should be a smidge tight, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Considering where Cory's went.
All over the front one. Should point out, or I feel like we should point out, no time clocks here in North Bay, but when they do play time clocks with doubles play, it gets, you don't have a ton of time, so you got to make your decisions quickly. And a lot of these teams, when they're playing in the Bonspiel circuit, try to still keep on that same pace. And it might have been a case here where they really didn't have the time to, because they could have played the red on the other side. That might have been an easier double. Certainly you could kill one that way. And they didn't look at the tap on the last attempt. And it's one of the things that makes the game exciting, especially when the time clocks are in play, is that it's you got to play at a pace, right?
Yeah, you really do.
So it's not just what you can make, sometimes what you can see quick enough. It is a fast game.
Yeah, final stone here for the Heggestads. This is a draw for 4. Just need the 8-foot. Looks like it's a bit of weight. See there, Cory gesturing to it, but they should have some granite to throw into. And that's a nice little draw there.
Comes down against her own stone, sits 4 in the 4-foot, put 4 points on the board for the Heggestads. They take the early lead. Second in action right after this.
Hey Canada, head on down to Montana's for our 50-day aged 7-ounce sirloin flame grilled with 2 sides and onion rings, all for just $25.99 every day. Premium steak without a premium price. Only at Montana's, Canada's home for barbecue.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Swiss Chalet's festive special is back. Canada's favorite rotisserie chicken, cranberry sauce, stuffing, Lindor chocolates, and a scratch and win card where everyone's a winner. It's a tradition truly worth sharing. The festive special, only at Swiss Chalet.
Surrounded by beauty on every side, this is a place where you can get away from it all. Or be right there in the center of everything. Arts, sports, entertainment, a vibrant culture. This is North Bay, and it is exactly where I want to be.
Stones front and back, that first delivered stone of the end, the red stone just biting the top corner of the button.
We have Katie's first. Just trying to keep it wide. You know, there is lots of curl on this sheet, which is great for doubles. A little bit of an overcurl and nicking that red would be okay, but you see this is just a smidge more weight than they think, and they're going to roll open. So it's not entirely like, you know, obviously you don't want to throw a ton of weight on your first draw, but it's not an ideal placement because now red can attack. Really, it's advantageous to attack either side, but obviously the side with the red rock, you know, and kind of put it right alongside or even top 4 again. You could just be sitting 2, right? Yeah, or just put it right to the back as well and really just nullify the blue. But yeah, there's some good options here for Heggestad to start after taking that 4 spot in the first end.
Yeah, on the other side for the, you know, for Ford Campbell, not horrible that they moved that red. Would have liked to have kept the shooter in front of the tee line. Probably, if she's trying to move it, what would you say? Probably maybe 2 feet too much weight out of her hand. She had weight to move it to the back 8, back 12, and she really needed to get to half to 2/3 of the face, so she didn't roll that far. A little bit less weight, she might have been okay.
And that's certainly, yeah, that's certainly possible with how much these.
Oh yeah,
these rocks are curling.
Yeah, all the shots are there.
Should be pretty solid too, right to the back. Even a little bit of a bump will be okay. Maybe not that much, but
yeah. I mean, there's a double there and spin up, and I'm not so sure that if you hit it right, that the red doesn't go between the 2 blues. I mean, you might lose one of them, but they're not likely coming into play anyway.
No,
they're talking about just the hit and roll in front. Personally, I don't love that. You've got last rock here, and the scoring area is pretty small already. I'd like to move that other stone if I'm playing a hit here.
Yeah, I think you kind of just
you might spin up when you do that, right?
Tactically in doubles, there just seems to kind of be, you know, like let's just sort of hit and roll and just sort of play in the middle. But I see what you mean.
Sometimes too much, I think.
Yeah, agreed. A little low turn hit here from Oliver. He seems very sweepable, though. You know, called it tight out of his hand. This will over curl on them slightly, but you can just see that's a very sweepable rock. They should come in. That looks like they might just be shot stone. If not, they're in the better position of the two.
Put a good freeze on here, and I'm not seeing you ever scored more than one, though. Now, having said that, you still got to make this freeze. And just because they make it look easy in doubles doesn't mean it is.
No, certainly not. Certainly not. Well, Cory Heggestad looking to come around and freeze right on top there. So he's going to take the intern side here.
Yeah, I think so. Not really any room to be heavy here. If you bounce off that at all, you could end up leaving a double on the reds.
Yeah, that's a good point. Not a ton of tolerance here, but
no. That's frequently the case, though, in doubles. You're playing in such a small area for the most part.
Trying to keep it out there just to make sure it doesn't cut on them. Yeah, there it's moving now. It should be solid. You could even, it looks like a bit of weight, even if you maybe even chisel that blue sideways, that might be all right.
If he stays close to the nose, he's okay with that. Yep.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, really good positioning for red here. Really good positioning.
You go back to Katie Ford's first stone of the end. If she gets that kind of line on her tap back, she'd have been great. She hit it a little too thin. Cory Heggestad gets nice curl coming by the guard here. Breaks the existing freeze, leaves a corner freeze of his own. The blue is shot rock, but it's a vulnerable again, and there's still not a lot of room to try to score a second point.
Yeah, I really liked the sweeping there and the line calling just to make sure that it got out there and that they were creating the shot that they just made. Considering I think they likely identified that the weight was probably closer to a back four or something out of the hand. So yeah, that was quite a good position. Now, if you're Ford Campbell, are they going to try to just come right into the side of the button and then maybe force Cory to do something a little weirder, let's say, for lack of a better term?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't see the call. They could be coming right to the back red one too.
Yeah, that's a
I
good
don't
call.
know. I'd like to address that one at the top if it's me, and I think, yeah, this looks like it's a straight draw. He's way out there. He's getting by the red at the top of the 4-foot anyway.
Yeah, just keeping it wide.
This might be short. This might be well short. Well, I know he wasn't playing that.
Yeah. So now it looks like if you're the Heggestads, I mean, you really do have two options. You could honestly guard this, you know. You put up a guard on that on the open side, force Ford Campbell to make a tough shot because they feel like they probably have to go after something. And if they do go after something, more like there's a high chance that they're just going to hit that red into that blue and then you're sitting two, right? Or you try to come in. That's where I was sort of talking a little bit more about like that sort of that it reads as defensive, Shawn, but it's we kind of see it as being a little bit more like aggressive, especially when you're looking at the scoreboard, right? It's like you can just give them one. You know, if you just protect it,
sure.
make them throw something ridiculous, and then if they make it, great. If they don't, you know, you can see that there's a high margin of error for Ford Campbell if they had to run something, either blue or red. So
this looks like he's setting up for the outturn. I'm with you though. I was thinking you could come in, and the execution tolerance is short. If you try the draw to the edge of the button on the intern side and come up short, you've just taken away the path.
Yeah, and they have something, right? They will have a shot.
He's setting up to play the outturn, so I think they're going to try to move that shot rock now. Not a lot of weight. This maybe is just a tap up on the red. Tap the red up about a foot, try to get shot rock that way and leave the shooter in the pocket. This may not get by the guard.
Just a little chisel. Too much, yeah. Well, I mean, it's not the end of the world again for Heggestad because it really comes down to the question of how could they possibly get more than 1 point out of this situation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have to be concerned about the steal because the Heggestad still have second and third, so they can afford to play an aggressive shot on their next one, knowing that stone at the back of the eight's pretty safe.
Yeah, it is. And this is, again, going back to the first end. I know it was one of the first things you said on the broadcast, but those top 4 rocks and doubles, like, it's just so valuable. You can just see here the position that it's put Ford Campbell in. The exact location of that rock is so tricky for this team right now to navigate.
And that little chip that he got on the guard, like, you watched that rock as it was curling coming in. I'm pretty sure you could get to that red stone with hack weight and get just across the face enough to push that blue out and probably be sitting 3.
Yeah.
So that red stone in the top of the 4 is a real problem for Ford and Campbell. If you guard it, you're probably getting 1 at most, and then you're going to see Heather Heggestad try to come around the other side, grab the corner of the button, and it'll be buried.
Yeah. That might.
This is not where you'd like to be. You've got last rock, and you almost forced here by the situation to play a defensive shot, and then you have to hope that Heather Heggestad doesn't make her next one.
Yeah, with how much it curls, it might be possible just to get to
think it's
that
there.
little bit of the corner of the button. All right, final stone here for Oliver Campbell here in this second end. He's throwing the middle 3 for this team out of the Waterloo region. It looks like they are going to just guard this. And that's solid execution on the guard. It might over curl a little bit on them. Oh, no, it held up nice. Are they going to be greedy with the run? Yeah, they are, I think.
They are.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's worth it too. But again, it comes back to that strategy earlier where it's like, if, you're down by 4, make them play something tough. You kind of, that shot's always going to be there no matter what. So, make them play something that's maybe like a little bit more high risk, because, the other way that you play this, if you're up by 4, is you just make them take their 1, right? But this is a solid opportunity to get 3. It makes total sense. But if you're Ford Campbell, you kind of have to play with fire at this point. I know we were just talking in the break that doubles is doubles, and 4 points is a pretty easy amount to come back from. But, you got to play with a little bit of fire. So we'll see if they make this and see if Ford Campbell can sort of recoup what they can out of this end.
Boy, she's got to get close to the nose here. There is a way this could go very badly if she just clips the blue. It's going to go right by everything, no harm, no foul, and actually takes away the draw path.
Yeah, it does, yeah. And there's really nothing for blue.
Nope.
Yeah, everything's kind of annoying, so. I'd almost be tempted to practice a tick or something here. Your power play tick or something. Just see what the ice does, because I don't think there's anything here.
I expect they're just throwing it away, but we'll find out. It's unusual they'd come down to brush it if they were just throwing it away.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, just to make sure.
I suppose you could throw the really wide draw without any risk of hurting yourself and just try to hit the tee line with it. It'd need to pick twice to get to the button, but.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Looks like that's what she's playing, actually. The really wide in-turn draw. Well, that's not really wide. Are they playing the long raise on the blue? Boy, this is not without risk.
That's what she had intimated to just briefly there before they went to shoot. It's not going to curl up enough.
That's a lot of risk. That was not a good call. You do that more often than you score with that shot, and she ends up putting it onto the red and gives up the steal of one. So it's a 5-0 lead for the Heggestads. Fort Campbell will have last rock once again in the third.
Hey Canada, there's something smoking new at Montana's. Beef brisket is now seasoned and then slow smoked in-house for 12 hours every day. Try it in our new Austin cheesesteak sandwich and other barbecue favorites. Only at Montana's, Canada's home for barbecue.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Bonspiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference.
Good point about
together, we can spread joy.
You just end up playing fast and you miss stuff for sure, or you just miss the right strategy.
How far do you have to travel?
It's part of the game when you get to the
To
clock.
have an experience that's
good that
truly
they're getting in the habit of playing
northern.
quick, because otherwise you run into time clock management problems.
Not as
Done
far
that.
as you might
Broadcast-
think.
Played in it, it's been a long time.
North Bay,
broadcasting actually
Ontario.
16 and 17 grand, that was-
Truly northern experiences are
so all
closer
kinds
than
of
you think.
teams run into time clock problems.
Visit
And
tourismnorthbay.com.
You need to learn to see things fast, make a decision. And underway here in the third end. A little bit of a different start here. That first stone comes a little heavy, taps the rock back, so it's in the back 12. You can move it, you just can't remove it from play.
Katie Ford's draw here might just be a little tight. Maybe wasn't the kind of weight they're looking for either. That's the other thing with your first draws too in doubles. You know, your tolerance is certainly wide and light. You know, if you end up sort of ticking that guard and you know you end up moving it over, it's not ideal. Even if you're trying to score, like, you know, you pick the guard sideways, it just opens up the middle. You know, if again, we were just sort of talking about with Fort Campbell, you know, they kind of need to play a little riskier game. It's like, you know, you need to almost play with that 4-foot scoring area and make the other team make a tough shot to try to get something big. If it's not a power play, speaking of which, I wouldn't be surprised if they play that here if they struggle in this next end. But yeah, this was a tough spot because now you have these two guards. Actually, it might even be staggered, and this red is awfully protected down here at the back of the button.
Yes and no. I don't think they got that deep enough. There's room through the port.
Well, you draw to it, and then yeah.
Well, can you draw to it, or do you have to throw enough weight to move it to make that port? Well, yeah, you're right. You probably could just straight freeze.
But if you do straight freeze, then the other team just falls you down, and then we're in the same position we were last inch.
Exactly.
Right?
But I do think there's enough room to move it. Like it's funny where when she ticked the guard and ended up just short of the house. The other unfortunate part of that shot that you didn't touch on yet was her shooter kind of takes away the draw path to the button.
Yeah, considering how much it curls.
Yeah. But that port is kind of queued up with like a backline weight to get right to that red stone, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You need to make one of these shots here sooner or later just to kind of switch the momentum, put the pressure on the other side for a bit. You've been under the gun most of this game.
Yeah.
It only takes one good one to turn the tide a little bit. This is hanging out there. Now it's starting to curl. This has got good line coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Good line for the freeze. Not maybe quite what they wanted for the tap, but it does open up that 4-foot area.
Yeah, you know what? That's a pretty good shot.
It's still better. Yeah, it's much better. Because this almost goes back to, the same situation you see in 4-player curling is, you could come around the middle, but how many blue rocks at the back of the rings are you willing to ignore when they've got last rock?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. The Heggestads are looking at this blue run, and if you miss it, you come into the center, maybe you clear that other guard out. He's trying to see a way that they can just open up that side, because it is pretty ugly just how that blue guard is guarding that one, even at the back 8. I think you can get it inside out, but they probably haven't played anything inside out yet. They probably don't know exactly what's going to happen.
It's a tight port with the reverse stagger.
No matter what, yeah. And if you get it, your shooter might not be in an advantageous position, right? It'll still be maybe behind the 4-foot, where if you make this run properly, you're maybe in a good spot.
Yeah, maybe. Do you think he's playing the run? I thought he was looking at maybe just playing the hit on the guard, roll into the house.
Yeah, it could be. I was imagining he was saying tolerance, like if we miss it, we just hit and roll. But but either one, you're right. Either you could just run right to the center, and then it might not be the worst. Then they would just draw in, and then you draw in. But
where the difference I'm thinking though is if he's thinking about the hit and roll in, you're not throwing the same weight that you're throwing if you're trying the run.
Yeah, good point.
He's setting up for an in-turn, so he's not playing the in off. This is playing the run. If you were worried about rolling into the house, you'd play the out turn.
Trying to keep it wide here.
What you don't want to do is hit this just off the nose, drive it by everything. Well, he rolled enough that the blue stone is exposed. Actually nudged the other red stone over and covered that red at the back of the 8-foot as well, or at least a piece of it.
Yeah, so if you're Ford Campbell, you draw in on that side before they do. Try to get that Christmas tree effect, maybe even where they could maybe get rid of that blue at the back 8, but they can't double them, and then you're in good shape for 2, I think, here at least, if you can make this draw.
Yeah, make this draw. You're set up for 2, and then there's still the possibility, because of those biters at the back and that one lonely red. Your last shot, you might have a shot for 3. It might be a delicate tap back, but certainly we've seen on this ice there's enough. If the situation on the right-hand side doesn't change, you could get to the face of that red to move it through.
Oliver Campbell here with the draw. Aiming for that top 4 positioning there. Right there, right where Katie Ford's broom is.
Gonna have to go for line, and I think for weight as well.
Gonna get both tight and inside. Definitely struggling with draw weight right now. Both players on Ford Campbell, which is obviously not ideal.
Yeah, not a good recipe in doubles.
Yeah, well, just in doubles, but also when you're trying to chase a little bit, Shawn. Like when you're in a position where you're like, okay, let's see if we can't sink 1 or 2 in. Like that's really the difference. And I know it's a dumb thing to say that you need to have draw weight for doubles, but especially when you're behind, because you just need to get those rocks in, right? And then after that, it's sometimes you gotta cross your fingers, which I've definitely done on multiple occasions, just to try to hope for something else to help you. But for the Heggestads, I'm not sure what you see here, Shawn, in terms of what's the most advantageous for them. They've
got the draws from either side. Now, they seem to be looking at the intern, and early in this game, and I don't know these players very well, but it does look like Cory himself very much favors his intern. Because the out turn, you could do a couple of things. If you get cornered around the out turn, you also take away that path to the back one. And if you leave half a rock, it's jamming onto 2 blues. If you play this around on the intern side, leave half a rock, it might leave a double on the reds.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, certainly more tolerance out there.
Well, and there's a better result on the right. Half a round, biting the top of the 4-foot is Campbell and Ford are going to have the other one no matter which one you play, but you've got a better result on the outturn side. I think he early in this game, it looks to me like he himself prefers his intern, and a lot of curlers have a turn preference.
And also they've played this side a fair few times, so that might also play into it a little bit. Let's see if we can just try to come right around here.
Not going to get by.
Not ideal there for the Heggestads.
No.
But it makes it difficult here for Ford Campbell decision making wise.
Yeah, doesn't it though, right? Like you've only got 2 rocks left, and if you want to get the big end, you might have to make the play on that redstone now and then hope that he leaves you a shot at whatever he plays on his last one.
Yeah.
If you just play the draw, he's going to follow it down, sit on top of it, and hold you to the chance for 2.
The only other shot I would consider playing is if they really felt like this was that is maybe the other call. The only other alternative was like the draw through that port, top 4, make him try to go after something, and then maybe you have a shot at that red later.
I would be shocked if he throws any weight at it. He's just going to follow it down, sit on top of it, and give you your 2 because he can't afford to roll out and give you the shot at 4. And so I get it. That's probably the thought process here. It's exactly what you just said. You'd like to put a rock in the top 4, but if you put a rock in the top 4 here, you might not ever get a chance to play that stone at the back. If you play this now, sit 4, the Heggestads have to be real careful with their last stone.
It'll be Heather Heggestad taking that one too.
Yeah.
With a draw rate, I mean, had solid draw weight for sure. Just a few feet less than what you threw in her first, and they'll be in good shape. But we'll see what Ford Campbell can do. They still have to make this pretty precise shot. You see that red is at the back 8, but there's not a whole lot you can see from the hack, I'd imagine.
No, but you just need to throw heavy draw, and actually you're probably better off if you roll a bit to the outside after you hit it. Now, this is really running. This looks like a lot of weight early, too.
This will be the first time we've seen someone carve a rock so far today. Just knowing how much it's going to curl in, but this should be enough action. Yeah,
the line's good. Shot. Is he going to move it far enough? No.
That's doubles for you. Yeah, you can see. It's tough, right? When you right, it was running on them. There was the right call to carve it. They maybe took some speed off of it, and shoot.
You move it 2 more inches, and it's golden. As it is, you're still sitting 2, but that doesn't add the same amount of risk for the Heggestad as sitting 4 would have.
Yeah. So they see that open hit and roll, and then
you still have to be careful not to leave a double. Slash double would only be for 3, but
they're going to be trying it.
So. Yeah. Well, if you hit it on the nose, there's probably the in-off double. That's for 4. Well, you clip the back one, it's still probably only for 3. I'm not saying you'd play it. I'm a little surprised they haven't at least discussed it. You could still draw.
Well, that's
you get one of the top 4 foot. How do you get it out?
Well, that was kind of my first thought for Heather too. It's like, something you've already played, and you can do it if you want. See them maybe a little bit of a laugh there. I'm not sure if that is the call or not. But
there's jams back there, so it's even if you're half buried, it's a hard one to get out. They're going to play the hit
here. Yeah. Yeah, just try to get, I think, just any sort of tuck underneath, and then, make it tough for them, right? Make them throw something that's difficult. If you do get a rock underneath, sure, the Ford Campbell might have a couple shots at it, but if it's buried, then, they might even be tempted just to draw for 2. So that wouldn't be the end of the world either, knowing that they're struggling with draw weight right now. So see if you can just get something, get a little roll underneath, see where you end up. Nice clean release there. Looks a little tight.
She got the double? No. Did she get the roll underneath? Well, not really. It's not in a bad spot though. The slash is really thin, and that corner guard's kind of in the way. And I don't know if he can get to the in off.
That's awkward. Yeah, I think he just.
I think it's just for 2.
Yeah,
he's got to move it.
Worth taking a look just to see if there is anything else. It's worth seeing, but I think with the slash, it's a little too. Yeah, that's
like it's probably there, but you're flirting with the guards to get that to hit it thin enough, and boy, you rub the guards and you're giving up another point. So
if you think you can make it for 4, it's worth it. But I don't think they can. I don't think they think they can make it. So
it would be tough because you're hitting the first one so thin. You can't just do it with hack weight. It probably doesn't go far enough. And I'm not sure you get the curl with more weight. It is paper thin to make that double. It actually, that little flop she got is probably the perfect roll. You can't see it enough air on the outside to play the slash double, which would be for 3. And she can't get to the inside of it enough to play the thin double.
And your shot on top of all that, right?
Yeah, so she still has to play it.
Just trying to make sure this doesn't cut on them. Looks like it should be okay, though.
She's good. Ford and Campbell on the board. They pick up 2 points here. They will trail 5-2 after 3 ends of play. It'll be the Heggestads with last rock when we come back for the 4th.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Swiss Chalet's festive special is back. Canada's favorite rotisserie chicken, cranberry sauce, stuffing, Lindor chocolates, and a scratch and win card where everyone's a winner. It's a tradition truly worth sharing. The festive special, only at Swiss Chalet.
Fourth inning just underway. Katie Ford with her first stone comes to the back end of the button. So now Heather Heggestad looking to follow it down.
Yeah, we were just talking about Ford Campbell struggling a little bit with their draw weight. It's a nice little comeback draw. Meanwhile, this one might be floating on them just a little bit.
It's a little warm.
Too much weight. That scoot's almost out. Yes, it will be out. So good opportunity here for Ford Campbell again for both players just to, just straight up, just get your draw weight right now. You have Campbell getting a chance to come down here and, just try to get a good feel for it. Even if you're a little bit light, that's okay, but ideally come right down on top of the red and then be in control of this end.
Yeah, good draw here at the very least. It makes for a very small scoring area. There's a bit of a wall back there already, just 2 rocks, but still, you get anything in front of them, I don't see how it's going anytime soon. Both teams still with their power play to look for in the last half as well.
Maybe doesn't like the adjustment right away, but it doesn't seem like it's as hard as the Heggestad rock. It might be. Another floater. See if he can't carve it to get a touch here. And that's a decent little recovery there from Oliver Campbell to get that feel back.
Yeah, that's not a bad stone for them. It's yes, it's behind the tee line, but again, the wall has started to form back there, and it's far enough behind the tee line that if the Heggestads ever froze to it, there's room on top of it for another one.
Yeah, there's still, I mean, when you're behind the tee, it's just you're one draw away from being in control. So it's certainly not a bad spot to be for them. And the Heggestads here up 3 points in the fourth end. Certainly the power play could be a consideration here in the next couple ends, something to keep in mind. If the Heggestads take big points here, I wouldn't be shocked to see it. And the next end here from Ford Campbell.
This one's running on him a bit too. That's out turn not curling quite as much as the in. Well, now it's starting to move.
Yeah, that hook's in pretty nice there. Yep, just to sit two, nice and tidy. Now they're just going to go for the draw.
I think so, yeah. You just sit on the face. You're half behind cover. It's hard to get out. If you're a little warm and tap it back to make a 3-rock wall back there and sit in front of it, that's pretty good too. You'd like to get at least to the nose, if not a sliver to the inside if you're doing that.
Yeah, with just how much curl we're getting here in North
Bay.
Bay.
Yeah, he could get away with the same weight he had on his last one as long as he gets just to the inside.
Yeah, he certainly can. A lot of the events in Ontario, at least that we've been playing in the last couple of years, have really adopted to getting as much curl as possible. Trying to really make that kind of that half pipe feel, which is good. Doubles is certainly a drawing game first and foremost, but it also makes hits difficult. It makes the run backs a little bit harder. So, it's just something, the conditions that ice makers try to get does present you with some different situations.
It makes the run backs harder, I agree, but it also makes the tap backs possible.
Yes.
Which, when you start playing the little finesse shots in the middle, you really need that. It's not the same game if you can't make those. Now, having said that, he didn't get to the inside on that one, but there was certainly room to do it. He was by the guard by a mile.
Now, the Heggestads have just a tidy little hit and roll to sit two on the center.
Yeah.
Just play even like a back 4 or a back 8 just to get to the inside of it, and then you're in pretty good shape. They've been reading the ice really well too, so I would certainly trust this shot.
I think he's got plenty of room by the guard. It would be tempting, I think, because they've got last rock here, to throw a little more weight if you could, just to get rid of some of the shrapnel at the back. Too many rocks to jam on back there right now.
Yeah.
If you could get just to the inside of this, just to make sure you clear the blue one all the way through, you almost could make the double. Wouldn't be a bad result either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's
then
lots
you'd have
of tolerance here for sure.
3 reds to 1 lonely blue sitting at the back of the 8-foot open, and rocks in play, put some pressure on.
You don't want to be too narrow and roll open on the outside. This might be what happens here. Yeah, it will roll open. Yeah, it's tough, right? If you're Ford Campbell, they don't have the hammer. They want to make the draw, and they want to make it on that side. That's interesting. I would be very tempted to throw, as much as yeah, of course you haven't thrown that side and what have you, but there's lots of different ways for you to miss that shot on that side. You can even say, if you sit down at the hack, it's like, boy, we haven't played this side. Okay, maybe I do want to throw like an extra 4 feet. And then you think, oh yeah, right, if we do throw an extra 4 feet, it does stay straight. We chisel over and it's the same result.
Yeah, exactly. What I find interesting on this one is he didn't get anywhere close to the line he needed on the last one, and they've got the same broom. Like, this is too much ice if he threw the last one good.
Oliver Campbell's draw here to try to come in and nullify these 2 red rocks in the 4-foot. Same thing. I think it's floating on him a hair. It might be a smidge more. It's really got a cut here. I'm surprised they're not carving it. He's probably right about now they will. You can get a good chunk and it's okay, but it will bump it back. Yeah, that's not an ideal situation for Ford Campbell.
See a double to sit 4.
Yeah.
And you don't have to throw it hard because you only need to move the second rock about, 6 inches?
Yep. It's crucial where your shooter ends up.
It's more important to get to the inside because if you're right on the nose and jam it on the back one, I guess you're probably still sitting 3 even if you jam it. Yeah.
And that's fine. Yeah. I mean, you just got to make sure that you have a good rock position on that shooter.
I'll tell you what, you don't want to do it in between. If you're going to play it, you're either playing the double or you're playing the nose, or you see Cory talking about even a roll to the outside. Because if you ever tried to play the double and you only got just to the inside and only roll the rocks with, you leave a pocket on the 2 reds.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't be in between if you're playing that. He actually looked at, and it's not a bad option. You hit it a little bit on the outside. You might jam it on the red, but that red's not going anywhere because of the other red behind it. You could sit 3 and maybe spread them out a little bit, get rid of some of the backing.
Right. It just kind of jostles a little bit. Yep.
Yeah. Roll your shooter far enough into the open that anything that Katie Ford can play off of it is still probably available to score 3.
Yeah, real possible hinge point shot in this game here for Cory Heggestad, his last in the 4th end.
This is way out there yet. Now starting to curl.
It's a great sweep here.
Boy, it's curling a ton.
Really good sweep.
They're going to be awful close to what I said, though. Yeah, you did not want to do that. You're sitting 3. The shot has to be made, but this is your get out of jail free card. Like
any bump, though, it works. Like any outside bump there, like that. You know what? I don't. This is still a pretty good shape considering you're trying to score a bundle in this end. I know that they do have to come right into there, but yeah, they still got to make it.
Well, you do, but if you make it, you can pretty much hang the point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Unless you want to draw to the pin on that side, but yeah. Okay, looks like they are going to have to. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, right?
You'll have to play the intern, yeah.
And you see maybe cleaning the path, maybe heating it up, just because they're unsure about playing this half. That's the other consideration for the Heggestads, and this probably didn't come into their thought process at all. But Ford Campbell, in my mind, if I was playing them, I'd say, boy, they're scared about playing that half of the ice. They're scared of playing that draw on that side. So, make them play something that they're maybe considering, maybe talking about, maybe unsure about what to throw. This is a good opportunity for the Heggestads just with that tendency that at least I've seen from this team and them having to play into that fear a little bit.
Yeah, she has. And I don't know how much they've talked about it. Of course, we don't have mics on the players. It's really easy to look at a shot like that. Well, we have to move it. We have to move it. Yeah, you have to move it to be shot. But if you move it too far and corner it on the other red, they can just blast it. You want to leave this close enough at the back of the button that your blue rock's still not going to clear it. You move this all the way onto the reds at the back and sit cornered on the top red. They just hit it on the nose. It flies out over the top. So it's not we have to make sure we move it. It's we need to move this about 4 inches.
Another crucial shot here in this A qualifier in the 4th end.
Line, I think, should be good.
Yeah, the line looks great right now. Just got to keep it moving.
Don't know if it's got the weight.
Ooh, that's pretty solid. That is pretty solid.
You can come off the red for 5.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to make it.
Yeah.
They're just considering. I also thought that was light too, to be fair. Looks like they had room on the guard for sure. again, they got to make it. Like, the fact that you're at least sitting shot and they have to play at something.
Well, they're just wondering whether they can get direct to the shot stone, which they probably could.
Yeah. Yeah, with how much it curls, yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to move it very far. So you're seeing that. Yeah, it depends. It just depends how much weight you can throw at it, is do red sideways and scooch it out. Yeah.
Oh, you've got she's got plenty of the rock because she's got almost half a rock's worth of air. Like she can almost see the edge of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd have to throw full hit at it, and it's going to jam on the back blue, and then you've got 5. But I do think this is there too. I mean, certainly we've seen tons of curl with finesse weight, and that blue is only just buried. She just needs to get to half of it. It's certainly there. The question here will be, how much ice do you need? She's playing the blast.
Yeah. Okay, this makes sense. Another important shot here for the Heggestads. Up by 3 here going into the halfway point of this game. Final stone here on the 4th.
The only question I see here is, can she throw enough weight to get the blue all the way, the blue that's at the top of the button all the way out? Because you're going to hit kind of the back end of it. You're not going to be able to brush it out. It's never going to be behind the tee line. It's got to go straight out sideways out of the 8 foot on its own.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like tough position where it is sitting top button for sure. Pretty big weight. This looks
almost
good.
Didn't have enough weight to get it all the way out, but moves it enough to get 2. Hit that as well as she could. Just that's all the weight she had. But put 2 more points on the board for the Heggestads. They've got a 7-2 lead now after 4 ends of play. Ford and Campbell will have last rock in the 5th, and a quick discussion there. We'll see if they decide to use the power play when we get back.
Hey Canada, head on down to Montana's and get the best of both worlds. Enjoy our 7-ounce sirloin aged for 50 days, flame grilled and served with your choice of 2 sides and onion rings. Just $25.99 every day. Plus, for a limited time, add a Canadian lobster tail to surf your turf. Only $10 more. Dive into this or our lobster spinach dip, lobster mac and cheese, and more. Only for a limited time. Come for the barbecue, stay for the flavor. Only at Montana's, Canada's home for barbecue.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's ice pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline, join the revolution.
It doesn't get played a lot, and we're just talking about it through the break. Heather Heggestad, nice shot on her last one. The only thing that stopped it being 5 is she just didn't have quite enough weight, but she does pick up 2, and we do see the power play here as we begin things in the 5th end. And the tick shot.
Yeah, nice execution there from Heather Heggestad to make that one. There's a large margin for that red rock to go. We played an event last week where that red rock ended up shot on the other end of the 8 foot. It can go into the coffin. It can go as a 3 guard. This is just good as long as you get it off that blue. It's in a really good position. Now Ford Campbell has to go after that space that red rock now is offering in behind.
It's an interesting evolution, let's call it that, in the way that that's been played, that power play. Of course, you can't even remove your own guard. So they come at it from the wide side, try to push it towards the house. If it's in the house, that's fine. And what I find interesting about it is the shot has been played so much in doubles, and a lot of teams have become very good at it in doubles, and it has made its way into the 4-player game. When you've got to deal with a corner guard in the free guard zone, that's what teams are doing. And of course, the little difference in the 4-player game is if you tap it into the house, you could hit it on the next one.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad that it's ported over back to the 4-person, because it really does show how valuable of a shot it is. Like if you execute it, it's just straight up. What did somebody say there last weekend? Like a power play killer. It really is, depending on the quality of the shot that you make. And also, if you're, keep in mind, if you are the team that is not, if you're the team without hammer, you just bring play back to the middle. That's what you're doing. Like even if it's a 3, that might seem ugly to you if the other team draws in behind. But then great, like in this case, it end plays out this way. The execution wasn't the exact same, but you're able to come in, and now Ford Campbell at best is maybe just sitting 1. So yeah, I always tell people that are learning doubles to really practice that shot, because you also, when you're in a power play situation, if you're not ticking that, there's other options for sure, but you just make it really messy for yourself. If you just can execute on that shot 5 times out of 10, even, it's going to make your life a lot easier when you're trying to defend the power play. And it's going to make it more straightforward,
Well, we're comparing and contrasting, because that shot made its way into 4-player play as well. But the other part of that comparison, it's the same thing as 2-player, 4-player. Doesn't matter how you play the game. You've got last rock, you want to play it on the corners. You don't have last rock, you want to force the play to the middle.
Exactly.
And,
Yep. It's just when you play doubles for, it's just a different mindset. It's kind of like when you play skins at a club level or whatever, it's just, you get your brain starts firing in a different way. So sometimes you just need those little things to kind of reset yourself. Blue sitting 2.
That was a really nice, but that was a really nice shot. She tapped that red far enough back, just far enough back, so she's sitting 2, but left it in play at the back where something might jam on it later.
And now you're forcing the Heggestads to throw a hit wide, be the first team to throw it, right? Like make them have to throw something that we haven't seen. Who knows what the path is? There could be, many different factors at play. You might get a miss out of them.
Or even a half shot. Like if you roll out on this, I'm going to put you on the spot, Marty. If you roll out on this, would you ever, you won't get second and third, but would you ever play the split on that rock that's just outside the front? So you're sitting shot, 3rd and 4th. And really,
most certainly.
Yeah. And this is, he's close to the double, I think.
It should be close, yeah. Oof. Wow, that is such a nice shot there from Cory Heggestad. Comes up, sits above the T80. Actually, you see Ford Campbell with a little bit of a smirk there. Can't beat that. Lovely little shot here. Let's take a look at the replay. Great line call. They're sweeping the rocks a little bit early. I know that sort of spooks some teams, and they don't necessarily like that, but they're in such a good rhythm. You can tell that they're reading the ice really well here at North Bay. That was just about as precise as you could have made it.
Did roll just enough into the open. There's room to roll back under cover, and he would be in front of the tee line if he can make it.
But yeah, to answer your question, that certainly that tick off the blue would be like the most aggressive shot to make, and it's there for sure.
It's there later if you get a chance. This is not the opportunity for it, but boy, had that rolled out, and for a while it looked like he was going to be thick enough to be over the top. Got enough movement at the end to make the double.
Mm-hmm. Here comes Oliver Campbell, just coming onto this redstone.
Now, if he doesn't get to the inside, can he make the double? They're trying to carve it over.
They were just a little late to make that adjustment. Oh yeah, they were a little late. Yeah, shoot.
It rolled just far enough to make this a little tricky, because you can only see the edge of that stone, and if you're any on the outside at all, you could jam it.
Yeah, and you can't really get away with killing this either, just because of where that blue rock is up at the top 12, where if you just smash away everything, you just try to throw peel at it, then they just have like a little something to score 2. That wouldn't be the worst, but if you're the Heggestads, how you're playing right now, you know, you have an eye on a force, right? You really do feel like you're playing that well. So just try to get maybe like some softer weight and try to get as much of it as they can. You think that's the call?
Likely. I mean, it's probably there with softer weight to get just a hair to the inside.
Yeah.
But, you know, scary to flirt with that one at the top, because if you rub it on the way by, it's in the rings.
Mm-hmm.
He's not playing at big weight because he takes the big backswing on the big weight.
Medium backswing versus big backswing.
He takes that backswing on a draw. So
yeah, I know. Yeah, when you said it at the back, I was like, I'm pretty sure he did that on the draw, like the first end of the game. This should be
a jam, a dead jam.
Don't like the jam. Yeah. Oh, Cory's just feeling like a god after making that double, and then you just have a tough one like that, and they're now going to be sitting 3 if they make it right.
Yeah. You got 2 rocks left. I'd be tempted to play the split now. That's a tough roll to get all the way in behind. That rock's wide open.
Mm-hmm.
Play the split. What do they play?
They probably just try to remove something. But if you
make the roll, they're gonna come down to you and hold you to 2.
They'll smash something. But if you make this hit and roll, then they try to, and this is like another sort of weird double sort of strategy. If you make this hit and roll and it's buried, they might try to draw and corner freeze on you. They might try to like the defensive shot is always like a weird greasy draw that's actually quite hard. So if you make this hit and roll, they miss that freeze, you have a shot potentially for 4. Like I
don't see them missing the house.
Well, yeah, but
so they're not gonna. It might be for 3. I think they're gonna draw wide on the intern and freeze the back one.
It's possible, but you might get a miss.
They'll give you
right?
2.
You might get a miss. That's what I'm saying. Is if you get a miss here, you could score 4. So I like the hit and roll under. Makes sense. Should be a decent amount of weight here. First rock we've seen inside out, I think. Wow, another nice shot right back. Well done by Oliver Campbell. Nice little tuck in behind.
Took away the in-turn to the back one, but the out-turn to either one is still there.
But see,
this is tougher.
Yeah, it is.
If you roll just under, the in-turn to the back one was kind of queued up with the way the guards are angled. This is tougher.
So here it is, the corner freeze from the Heggestads. And like I said, if they miss this, it's, you know, a little bit open season here for Ford Campbell. You got to kind of hope for a couple misses on your power play, and you're eyeing a potential big end if Heather fails to make the shot. But another hinge point in this game for sure.
If she makes this, does the scoreboard say you have to play the double run?
Yeah, it does. The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Because the audience wants to see that too, let's be honest.
Well, yeah. Especially if she makes it. That's a fun one to call.
Yeah,
but in all seriousness, the scoreboard, I mean, this was your power play, right? This is, if she makes a good one here, the double run is not a gimme. It's not a horrible angle to have to play a double run. There's some distance between them. But it could be for 3. And I don't think 1 does you any good. This is a long ways out, though. She's got to get a corner in front of something.
They don't like the path here. And it might be just a smidge up.
Wow. It is a shot for 4.
So now they're going to look at this. Are they going to? Yeah. I'm sure that Roxanne. Yeah. Okay, good. Or they do?
No,
Maybe
it's not in.
Think it is. Oh, okay.
It's not in. No. She's got to play the split.
Well, there's your miss. So, yeah, that was
a huge miss. I was saying, well, you don't think they're going to miss the house, and then she does. I don't think they've missed the house yet this game. That's huge. That's a huge swing. We could go from 7-2 to 7-6.
Yeah.
It's a different game if this shot's made.
Yeah, there comes the power of the power play, so to speak. Big shot here from Katie Ford, though. Still going to make this one as well. And the Heggestads have a choice about calling their power play next if they want to.
True.
Different methodologies on that for sure, but we'll see what happens with this stone.
Setting up early like he thinks it's going to have to curl. It is still out there. Not going to make contact with the stone out front, but nice weight for the draw. It'll be good enough for 3. And that still closes the gap. It's now 7-5. Take a quick look around the outside. It certainly doesn't look like it's in. Going to put the biter stick around it. Nope. So 7-5 here after 5 ends of play. It'll be the Heggestads with last rock and that 2-point lead in the 6th.
Hey Canada, head on down to Montana's for our 50-day aged 7-ounce sirloin flame grilled with 2 sides and onion rings, all for just $25.99 every day. Premium steak without a premium price. Only at Montana's, Canada's home for barbecue.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best brew in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
Swiss Chalet's festive special is back. Canada's favorite rotisserie chicken, cranberry sauce, stuffing, Lindor chocolates, and a scratch and win card where everyone's a winner. It's a tradition truly worth sharing. The festive special, only at Swiss Chalet.
Surrounded by beauty on every side, this is a place where you can get away from it all. Or be right there in the center of everything. Arts, sports, entertainment, a vibrant culture. This is North Bay, and it is exactly where I want to be.
Seven to 5 as we begin play here in the 6th end, and my memory serves right, this is the first time that Katie Ford, throwing that first stone, has managed to put it in the top 4 foot. She's had one right on the button and then one to the back 4. That's in a very good spot to start this end off.
Yeah, I think you're correct in that, Shawn. It just shows there must be some sort of delay on the ice here. Oh,
I think
washroom break. Washroom break.
The delay coming back to the ice.
Right. Okay. Classic. Yeah. Well, it needs that, especially when you're not on the clock. You just look at the other team. You're like, can I go to the washroom? And they're like, yeah, go for it. Nice and chill. Nice and chill. We're on the clock. It's a different story. Well, again, and this just shows how difficult, especially when you're on ice that curls a lot too. Like if you're red, the Heggestads maybe just have to kind of try to draw and tuck it underneath. And it's like, if you take an extra wide path, you really just need to sort of tuck it underneath, because if you tick that blue out, then your red is exposed and then they have more to draw to. So a bit of a margin for error on the first here from Heather Heggestad, thanks to Katie's solid first draw. And you also want to put the other first thrower under a little bit of pressure, especially when they've been playing so well.
Well, they did get a miss out of her on her last stone.
Yeah, the key will be to keep this wide.
Might
bit of weight, but that might be okay. That bit of weight might be
too wide.
Yeah, okay. So not ideal, but sit on top of it, and then blue can now be 1 or 1-2.
Cannot remove that from play yet. You can move it. You just can't kill it.
Yeah, this is a good, another point and end where, we just played an event last week, and it's like, we just played one game. We got off the ice and we were debriefing. It's like we just didn't quite get the shapes we wanted, right? In the 4-foot, we didn't quite get the angles and just the shapes in general. And that just really comes down to the shots that we're looking at right now. The first two shooters, and then really the first from the team without hammer is really going to give you that shape that you want for the rest of the end. And if you're not getting the shape, it's because you're not having rocks above the tee line. And this is a classic example where if Ford Campbell do come on top of this, they're in complete control already, right? They might have this, blue might have this little slash, but if they can corner freeze on this red or even tuck underneath like this, right away, blue is in fantastic shape already. Forcing the Heggestads to, like you said here, or like they're pointing here, maybe just corner freeze, right? Like really have to do something that's extra greasy early on. Is that what you like here? Just that little corner freeze, or just come on top of that blue?
It's it's not a bad result. It would be tempting to try to move that one off the top of the 4-foot. It worries me more about the one at the tee line. But again, you can't kill it yet. And hard to get, you'd like to hit just on the center line side of that rock, move it behind the tee line, and it's hard to get there from either turn with the weight you'd need to move it. It is, as you said, it's a pretty good looking house right now for Ford Campbell. Playing with a little bit more confidence here in this sixth end, because they really haven't had a ton of pressure on the Heggestads. Oliver Campbell made a nice hit and roll on his final stone last end to set up the 3. But they've got everything set up well early here in the 6th.
I want to keep this straight. A little bump off the blue wouldn't be ideal.
Yeah, if you were going to move that, it needed to move a lot more than that.
So crucially here, blue is sitting 2.
And the angles are no good for the Heggestads. I mean, the one that he just rubbed, you can see a good piece of it now, but all he's going to do is jam it onto the blue, which jams onto the reds. So he still doesn't have a way to get any of those blues out. And Oliver Campbell's going to try to bring another one in.
That's the right call too. There's a bit of margin for error for this one as well. Just sink one in there.
Weld it right on the face of your own. The shot that we don't see very often in doubles might be the shot that you need to see next. Peel the center guard.
Yeah. It's funny. We've started to see teams implement that a little more too. It is something that's against your nature while playing, but sometimes you have to zoom out and say, hey, let's be honest with ourselves. This is the play.
We're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well,
we need to find a way in.
Yep.
Oh, this looks like it might be a little strong.
Wouldn't mind the carve here. You can kick the blue sideways into there. Maybe not. Let's see where this ends up.
Yeah, you got to get to the nose.
You know what? This is actually holding up pretty nice. That's not bad. It's not ideal, but it's still good shape.
You play the slash, you're probably moving all 3 blues. Two are leaving, and the back one's going to move.
Yeah. It's got to be solid. It's got to be good for sure.
Back one's going to move. It's not going to leave. It can't. It's going to rattle off 2 blue or 2 reds. It's probably still going to be shot rock. But you certainly have the ability here to make a lot more room to score.
This is already the highest scoring game the Heggestads have played thus far this event.
Oh, really?
A 5-4 win I believe in their first game. And that, easy math tells you 8 ends, you're not scoring a ton of points, but that's sometimes how doubles can be played. It can sometimes just be that 1 point per end play. Meantime, Cory here, what do we got? Wow, another nice shot here from Cory. He's throwing that big weight really well today.
Yeah, this Oliver Campbell came a little too deep and on the wrong side of that rock. He was going to be deep because he left the angles to clear everything. Cory Heggestad with the big weight. Moves all 3 blues, but as I said, it rattled around between the 2, and it stays shot rock at the back of the 4-foot. So you've still got the chance to come around to the top of the button, buried, sit 2. Steel's still in play here.
Yeah, at least now if you're the Heggestads too, you have a draw on either side. Like you're starting to open up
There's more
either
room,
side for a potential bailout, right? You're in a much better position now.
Well, if you had to, there's the desperation shot. You could come off the red onto the blue and spin up into the back of the button too.
I think we know that Cory's capable of that, so we'll keep an eye on it.
I would tend to think that that's probably more of a last shot to score one type of a shot. I don't think Cory's playing that one.
We'll see if he wants it. He can take it.
You're still going to be on the back half of the button, even if you do spin back. This is a big shot here. Oliver needs to get something buried, ideally biting the button. And this is a long ways out again. They've been taking just a little bit too much ice for Oliver. Now he's a little strong on that one as well, but
yeah, I think we can count on maybe one hand how many times teams have been anywhere close to the guard. But again, it's that kind of that half pipe where sometimes you play some of these events where they make the ice this curly and you just kind of like, it just feels like you could aim anywhere and it's going to end up in the same position. But yeah, I do agree with you that there is maybe just a smidge more ice. You can afford to maybe cheat a little bit, just if you know you're gonna, if he really dials back on the weight and really does get that top 4 weight, yeah, you can certainly dial it back.
Yeah, he's been on the outside of just too many of his attempts. He needs to ones where if he gets just a sliver across the face, he's in great shape. That one a little strong regardless, but even the last one, if he gets to the nose or a little across the face, he's great. When he hits it on the outside like that, he left room to play the double and clear the reds. Cory Heggestad, big weight double on his last one, looking to dial it back and play the freeze here, and this might be a little strong. Boy, if he bounces off this, it could be one heck of a pocket. Stayed more or less on the face of it, but you know what? If you came down with, what would you say, backline weight, got right to the nose of that, it's going to roll off onto that other red. You're going to be sitting in front of a 2-rock pocket that I don't know how you get this one out. It has to be made.
That might be worth it for Ford Campbell to play at this stage of the game.
Yeah. Well, that blue one at the back of the button is not going anywhere. It's going to stay right there. It's going to jam. The back one will go, but you're seeing what I'm seeing, right? You get to that red right on the nose so that it slides over and that red-blue form a pocket protecting your shooter. You'll actually be sitting 2.
You don't have to move that red rock very far at all.
No. And you can't because it's gonna go onto the other red anyway. So there's no point throwing huge weight at it. You just need, back 8 foot.
And regardless, I think this is your shot just because you're gonna want to draw in.
It's another line call, right? You've got to get to the nose at least. You could even get away with getting a sliver to the inside.
But that's what I mean. It's coming into that red rock anyways, because there's some tolerance there. Even if you were just going to draw on top, if you didn't want to play this tap. So that is the shot they're attempting regardless.
Yeah, I think they have to move it. I think the red shot, isn't it?
Move it. Yeah. They can move it. I'm just saying the alternative is just to like draw on top and force them to 1. But you're right. I think that it's worth the shot at this time to try to play that back line and send that red out.
Well, the red's shot now. If you don't get shot rock out of this, there's always the wide in-turn draw to what's left of the button on the other side.
Yeah.
You know what? If you get a sliver to the inside here and roll dead buried behind the guard and not worry about the pocket, I'm not sure there's even a shot to score. Because your shooter's going to take away both paths to the pinhole for sure. This is a chance to put some big pressure on.
Yeah, final stone here for Ford Campbell in the 6th. Without hammer in the crucial 6th end.
Out there a long ways early. Got to get at least to the nose here.
You might be able to carve it. It might be a little bit too much, though. Oh, never mind. Get right to the inside. Oof. Okay. Not the worst. Not the worst.
Yeah, it's still 1 point going up on the other board, and the draws for 2 is there.
You could even come back, and I think you could even tap that blue back at the back 4, right?
You could.
We know how much it's going to curl. You can see here on the left pane on our screen there that the blue is somewhat exposed. If you just touch a little bit of it, you should be shot. So, yeah, there's a crucial draw here for Heggestad to go up then by 4 going into the 7th. So with a power play to play, keep in mind. So they'd be in great shape if they make this draw.
And Ford Campbell have already used theirs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you could start to see the defensive power play. If they need to play in the 8, it's always going to be there. So
and if they don't have last rock in the 8th, they've got a much bigger lead. Was heavy on her draw last end. Needs to put this right on the tee line. On the brush right away. Line looks good.
Just going to keep it moving here.
Yeah, this is starting to curl. They got to get by the one at the top of the 4. It doesn't have the weight to get there anyway. It'll be a single point for the Heggestads. They now open up a 3-point lead. It's 8-5 after 6. Ford and Campbell will have last rock in the 7th.
Hey Canada, there's something smoking new at Montana's. Beef brisket is now seasoned and then slow smoked in-house for 12 hours every day. Try it in our new Austin cheesesteak sandwich and other barbecue favorites. Only at Montana's, Canada's home for barbecue.
Join us this March for the House of Hearts Charity Bonspiel in Duluth, Minnesota. Help raise funds for Project Joy, who provides meals for hungry kids in our community. Every donation helps to ensure no child goes hungry. Join us and make a difference. Together, we can spread joy.
How far do you have to travel to have an experience that's truly northern? Not as far as you might think. North Bay, Ontario. Truly northern experiences are closer than you think. Visit tourismnorthbay.com.
Underway here in the 7th end. The first draw actually came around from the out-turn side, over-curled the guard, and a little deep. So a chance now for Katie Ford to try to get something in front of the tee line. See if you've got room to get shot rock yet, staying in front of the tee line.
Decent position to be in if you're looking to score here for sure. And you have the hammer. Just come right in there. You could see a way in a couple of shots that it could end up removing that red rock in some way. So just make sure this first draw is good. It'll be right to the back. Over curled on them.
Yeah, I think they were trying at the end to hold the line and maybe chisel the red. They get almost completely by it. Leaves quite a pocket at the back as well. That's not a good house for Ford Campbell when you need to try to score multiples here. If Cory can freeze this right in that pocket, it's going to take a lot of work to get that red out of the back of the button.
Yeah, good point. There's pretty solid pocket here, and either side's good too. You outturn is maybe a little bit more favorable, but the in-turn you can still certainly make. And
they just played the out-turn to get there, so it's interesting. They played the out-turn, and Katie Ford tried to chase with the in.
It can be a combination of like what you're feeling or, what the shape is, right? Like since I throw first and last on my first, sometimes I'll just ask like, what side's nicer? And if there's one that we know for a fact there's more tolerance for a miss, we'll just throw that one. But if I'm definitely feeling the in, I'll just throw the in.
This one's going to over curl as well.
It should be solid though. If it just gets to nose. Yeah, there's a bit of wiggle room there, but it's not awful for the Heggestads.
Well, you got to try to move it now. Ideally, you get to the nose or just to the inside. And I say inside because I think you have to play the in-turn. I don't see you getting there with enough weight to move it on the out-turn.
Yeah, good point.
And, the big shot, and it's tougher than it looks. You have to get just across the face, because if you're even on the nose, you're going to leave the blue-red angled into the other two blues. And you've still got the same problem. You need to create, you're playing this shot to try to create an escape route for that red that's on the button now. So you got to get just ever so slightly across the nose, tap red onto red, and then leave your blue-red angled so that you can get that red one out. You're asking for a lot with one shot, but it is there on this ice.
Little carve here.
That's a long ways by the guard, though.
Yeah, all right. I mean,
you could probably get to it. Yeah, you could probably get to it from the out-turn side now. But
yeah, you're leaving something for later for sure.
Yeah,
and you have 3 rocks in the forefoot, so at that point,
the other team gets to throw first. That's
I know.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
You've got a shot right now.
Yeah, but sometimes you just got to hope for something like that, right? Where it's like, okay, well, what's our positives? We got 3 rocks in the forefoot. Yeah, this one's sitting here, but at least it can be now got at from the outturn side. It's like, great, let's see what they do. Maybe we'll have a shot at it. Maybe we won't. Doubles is the percentages are certainly lower than the 4-person game.
Oh, they are. Yeah.
But the misses, like the pure misses, can be, almost as catastrophic for the team that misses. As much as that doesn't make a ton of sense, just because the percentages are lower, there are fewer, I guess on the whole, shots aren't as precise, but there's a lot of shots that are typically within tolerance or within like, okay, that's kind of works, that's kind of good. But when you have a shot that truly is a miss, then that can be as significant, if not more significant, than the 4-person for sure. Red just going to come right in there, and just try to meld right to it.
I thought they indicated corner freeze their own. I'd be tempted if you could get there, and it certainly looks like you could, to corner freeze that blue at the top of the 4-foot.
Now we should know that there are some ways for you to miss this too. Like if you're wide for some reason,
you can't.
They might have something. So Ford Campbell at least giving the Heggestads a way to miss this shot.
That's what I liked. That's a pretty good shot.
Yeah, it really shrinks the scoring area now. And really protects theirs.
And we're quiet because we can't see anything good either. Could you get there with enough weight you've pretty much got to break that freeze, right? Like,
oh, that'd be ugly. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
can you get there with the intern and push that red out into the open far enough that you might leave yourself a double on the reds? So then Heggestad's got to do something on that side again.
Yeah, this is the point where they look behind them and look at the scoreboard and look back down at what they're doing. They were kind of intimating at just almost freezing on that red, like the red that's on the button.
What does that get you, though? Oh, on the button. Okay.
Yeah, but then
right
what
does that get you?
Well, you hope they miss. It's either that or you could shove. Like, I think they're gonna go after shoving this blue rock into the pin.
I'm not seeing you ever get more than one like that. I'd like to move the red, like break the existing freeze, and hopefully you're moving that red. Only has to pop all the way out into the open, and then at least there's a double out there.
And this might be the time where
he's got a lot less ice.
Yeah. Oh, watch that rock's coming there for you. Yeah, classic forest. There's no one to grab rocks. So, not me, but someone out there may suggest just running that red in, like something. Do something.
Yeah, I don't see anything good coming out of that either. You might double the 2 at the front, but you're still leaving the red at the back of the button, and to run it, you got to leave the guard up there too. The shooter's going to stay. I think he's trying to get to the red, and there's a good result if you can make it.
This looks like a lot of weight, though.
Well, he's got to have some weight because he's moving 2 rocks, but he needs to be tighter to the guard than this. Well, they might be touching their own now, which they can get shot rock this way. I'm just not sure how they ever score more than 1 like this.
Well, and that's what I meant, where it's like you can
now there's a double on the blues.
Well, that's it. You can shove the blue in all day, but then there's always going to be this, right? And yeah, it's tough when you're trying to play the scoreboard in this instance where, like, you could have done that corner freeze, hope they miss or whatever, and then it really blows up in your face. But I mean, I guess at this point you're gonna be you're hoping to maybe take 1 or 2. They do still have the power play. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough at this point in the game. It's tough to play the scoreboard if you're Ford Campbell, for sure.
Yeah,
well, Heggestads have this hit. Sorry, go ahead.
You have to think 1 doesn't really do them any good here. Hard to score 2, steal 2 against a power play.
Yeah. Yeah, most certainly.
I mean, you'll ignore the rocks on the corner in the power play. You'll throw the center guard up, but that only gives you 1. Like, it's hard to steal 2 against the power play. Steals happen all the time. Steals of 2 happen all the time in doubles play. But when you want to use that power play for defense, it really cuts down the opportunities for a big steal. This might be a little thin.
Interesting.
Yeah, that rock at the top of the 4 foot is still a problem, but
I think he did get some kind of miss. What are they intimating at there, Shawn?
They're looking at the run, because if you run it onto the red-blue jams on the reds at the back. You could be sitting 2.
But then the draw is wide open.
Yeah. What are we at here? Just 3 rocks left to come. Let me play devil's advocate. Do you ever peel the guard?
If you're blue?
Yep. So I have 3 rocks left to come, right? You peel the guard, there's a nose hit on the red for 3, so they've got to do something.
Right. Yeah.
They can't hit it because it's jamming on the back.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
You're always going to have a shot for at least 2 because they can't do anything with the shot stone.
I think if you come in here and then you have to hope for another miss, and then...
Well, you're having to make a really good shot, too. Like, back to the early days of curling, one of the simplest things to remember is easy me, hard you. This is the hardest. This is the much harder shot than just peel the guard. Great. And you peel the guard, you know you got a shot for at least 2, and you might have a shot for 3. Once again, he's got a lot of line, and this one's going to end up in the back somewhere. If they freeze on that, I don't see how you're ever scoring 2.
Yeah, good point. Well, this is another crucial shot here from Heather Heggestad. Playing great so far today. Just sink one in there and see where you end up. But that being said, if there is a miss here.
Yeah, she did throw one heavy a couple ends ago. And here's the thing. If she's heavy on this one and stays on the outside at all, the blue's not going to move. It's still going to be second shot. And if she rolls over to be third, it's a draw for 3.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't one of those ones where you can say, oh, I better make sure I'm all the way to the back one, because you can't. You can't bounce off this. The blue's not going anywhere. This is a cold draw.
Yeah, real important one here for sure. Can't wreck off this top one.
No.
Woo! That's a nice draw.
Yep.
Oh, man, that was quite a close call, and that might have just put them in the right position in this game.
Because that was a lot of weight. There was all kinds of danger of that one going wrong.
Whew. Great sweep. Great sweep. Has to be said.
But by great sweep, you mean just don't touch it and pray for it to slow down? Can you still get, I mean, she just barely cleared the red one at the front, and as you can see, like, it's edge to edge. In fact, it might even be a little bit buried on that stone at the top of the forefoot. And I think she's got to get to the inside of it, because it's not going to move. This is a draw, right? She's got to get to the inside of it to sit 2.
Oh, man. I guess so, yeah.
Now with cold draw, because that was heavy, with cold draw, it should be coming in, I don't want to say sideways, but it'll be curling a lot harder as it comes into the forefoot. I think there's room to get to the inside, but it's got to be cold draw, and she's still got to be tight to that red at the top of the 4.
Might be worth crossing your fingers for this one if you're a fan of the Four and Campbell team. You never know. Started moving sideways, like you said.
Yeah, I'm not sure he needed to carve it. I don't know if he's by the front one now.
Yeah.
That was the difference in the weight. She had the better draw weight. You just had to trust that it was going to curl and be ready, and carved it into the one at the top 4. It's just a single point. So they closed to within 2, but it'll be the Heggestads with last rock in the 8th end, and I'll be shocked if we don't see the power play. We'll find out when we come back.
I don't remember a time when curling wasn't a part of my life. When I wasn't putting in the sweat and hard work to be the best that I can be. Clocking in the time, the effort to practice day in, day out. Curling is more than just a game. It's a family, a community. And when it's time to play, I know I'll be ready. Hardline, supporting hundreds of our next generation athletes.
Swiss Chalet's festive special is back. Canada's favorite rotisserie chicken, cranberry sauce, stuffing, Lindor chocolates, and a scratch and win card where everyone's a winner. It's a tradition truly worth sharing. The festive special, only at Swiss Chalet.
Well, I was trying to get Marty to bet me that there would be a power play this in, but he might have been born at night, but it wasn't last night.
Well, that's a good one. Yes, I was born 6 p.m. 6 p.m. in December, so that would have been night for sure. Well, you knew that. You could have bet on that. You would have had better odds on that. I guess I would have had better odds on that. But yeah, that was, I mean, center guard, yeah, just keeping control of it. That draw wasn't ideal, but yeah, you just got to try to limit the damage here.
Scoreboard says you got to score. It's last end. You got to steal 2. You're not doing it on the corner, so you had to throw a center guard. You got the little bit of a break that you needed, and then that stone goes deep. Now you kind of got to come around here, I think.
Yeah, and for those new to doubles too, playing, it's, you know, the power play is best utilized in a defensive way. You know, it is best utilized if you are in this position right now. Like, this is the ideal. Like, obviously you play it ahead of time if you really need to score points, but this is kind of your really shut it down, you know, type strategy. Because you're able to just, in this case, they do make this nice draw. That's fine. But, you know, if you do play it properly, you know, this is the right time to play a power play, so to speak.
If everything goes wrong this end, it's still hard to steal more than 1.
Exactly.
Because the end didn't start in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. I said that much more succinctly than I did.
And 1 doesn't get you anywhere.
Well, exactly.
Had they been able to get their deuce last end, it's a different story. Changes the complexion of this end a ton.
The other thing that's really not working in their favor, Ford Campbell's favor, is the fact that, you know, Cory's been seeing this ice quite well for hits, and, you know, it might just kind of be just even start ripping that guard and just start moving stuff. You know, he's been seeing that quite well, and you never quite know when, you know, it's doubles. You know, you don't get to play a ton of big weight, or, you know, in this case where the ice is curling a lot, but it does seem to be pretty consistent for hits. So that's going to be play number 1 here, just getting rid of this guard.
Wasn't wide.
Why not a run? Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh, just enough to get it. Because, you know, if he leaves that for shot rock, that could be the one that at least gives you the chance to sit 3 at the end. Which, you know, this 2-player curling or 4-player curling, it doesn't matter. There's 2 ways. If you're going to steal 2, you either got to bury 2 in the middle, which is hard to do when you've only got 1 guard to work with, or you need to sit 3 and get a rollout. So they've got a biter. It's actually second shots. I mean, there might be a way that they can manipulate things to sit 3 and hope for a rollout.
That's possible.
You're coming around here. You expect the peel to be attempted, and you expect it to be made, although we just saw one not quite made, which means there's going to leave 2 blues in the house. And, you know, on your last one, I guess you could always ignore everything else and just try to chip that red over, and you could sit 3 that way. What I'm trying to say is there might be a chance. I mean, you might be able to make Heather have to throw a shot with her last one and make it.
Yeah, well, certainly. Again, top 4 is the goal again. Not light.
No, you've got to
have Jamie.
You don't have to be shot necessarily, but you got to be second, and he is. So, because again, if you're going to sit 3, you're going to have to make a play on that red stone on the edge at some point in time anyway. So it's not necessarily critical that you're beating it right now.
Yeah, and those are still the set stones too, so they're going to be buried. Similar shot here, maybe just a little bit more line here from Cory Heggestad. This one's out there.
You know, that actually helps the Heggestads a little bit, because it's harder now for Ford Campbell to get to the inside corner of that red. And they will have to move it. I mean, I guess you could do it from the wide side now, but it's not easy. Yeah, I'm thinking like they are. You might almost have to do it now. You come into the middle, you leave a double. If they make the double, the game's over.
Yeah, I think you make that really nice classic draw to the bundle power play right there. Like just be corner frozen. They maybe think they maybe just want to tap it back slightly. Yeah.
If you could move it and sit 3 now, that'd be great, because then even if they make the hit in the middle, you should still be sitting 2.
Yeah, there's certainly a chance here for Ford Campbell if they keep playing the way that they're playing and earning earning the shots that they're calling for sure. Like if they make this, like you just want, like sitting 3 and in a decent spot.
Guess it's not critical that you sit 3 here yet either. You corner freeze it. I'm just playing this through in my own head. You corner freeze it, they're going to hit the open one, but it's hard to roll in to enough to matter on that. So then they would have to move it on the next one. Now, this is a long ways out, though. Chisel off your own's okay.
They're too late to make that decision, I think.
Yeah.
Heavy. Oh, maybe not. Yeah, maybe just the line they got fooled with it.
I'm seeing a triple. Oh, he's not.
Yeah, you can play it smart. You just have to just sort of.
It's hard to not make 2 of them move if you're anywhere on the outside, anywhere on the center line side. He's going to try to play the port. That's tougher shot. And if you hit it on the nose, you're leaving a double to sit 3. I don't like this call.
Yeah, you're just saying just throw that blue into the other blues and see what happens. Like
Yep,
the top 8
it's
one.
possible all 3 of them go. Yeah. The danger of the shot that he's playing, and just look at where they're sitting. If he hits this right on the nose or even a sliver to the center line side, he's leaving a double on the reds to sit 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good point. Yep.
You'd be better off to hit half a rock here and make the double. I don't know if is there room through the port? Yeah, there might be. To hit half a rock on the shot stone, clip that blue out of the back of the 12-foot. And then Katie Ford's not going to have anywhere to hide. That stone at the top 12 is going to be open, and they won't need to make a double with the last one.
Big shot here regardless for the Heggestads.
He's close to the double, I think. Unless he's too thin, he might dead jam it. He did. Well, that makes things interesting. Who's got second shot? I think it's the red, but you could play the split if you think that
yeah, you could play the split.
Or here's the other thing: you could play the straight tap back too, or the come around. You're only sitting 2, but they can't get it either one of them.
Interesting.
That's no good, because then they nose hit it and you lose.
Yeah, I kind of like if you can somehow come around.
Or tap it straight back. Either one works.
Oof, that's pretty good.
That is horrible. Like, turn around and look at the scoreboard. You can't put it right there in the open.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Split's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Split's okay, because then she can't roll out. You'd be sitting 3.
But if you somehow miss the split,
that's.
I guess it's hard. I guess it's hard to miss it though. Yeah.
You don't have to have big weight, and if you bury it trying the split, that's not horrible either. If you're sitting 2 and they're playing the straight back run, there's still a chance you're stealing 2.
The big shot here from
Katie
Ford.
The adrenaline's got to be flowing. You got to calm the heartbeat down here.
Down by 4 right out of the gate, then down by 5 by the second end. Then it was 7-2, as you can see on the scoreboard, into the 4th end, sort of mini break there. And they've really crawled themselves back in the back half. Really been impressed with how they played, figured out the draw weight, and hopefully they can figure it out on this shot here to make this at least an entertaining finish here to the 8 ends.
She had a chance in 5 to split for 4, just came by it, but she had good weight, got 3. She needs the split here. Going to have to make a decision here pretty quick. Has she got enough line to get the split, or are they playing the straight come around? Doesn't have to move it very far, but she does have to touch it. Oh, I think she's got a good one here.
Yeah, it looks really close. Wow.
Moved it far enough, I think. Just.
Yeah, that might be enough. Yeah.
So. Heather pointed at the red.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Which means if she just makes the blue go away, it doesn't really matter. It looks blue to me. But again, we don't know for sure from the overhead. Like, I've done enough of these games that as much as we always make the camera look like it's right over the pinhole, you got to mount cameras on what you've got on the roof. So sometimes they're not directly over the pinhole, and it distorts the angle just a little wee tiny bit.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Definitely.
You make the nose hit, it doesn't matter.
Big chance to go straight to the playoffs here in North Bay. Heather Heggestad. It's like a decent amount of weight.
Yeah, I don't know if it will be, because she can afford to cross this. I mean, it's hard to cross it and roll out, right? Like if you're thin enough to roll out, you're probably onto the blue on the other side. She might be throwing about bumper here.
I'm not sure just with that ice. We'll see. Looks good for contact.
More weight than I thought she was playing, but she's going to be right on the nose.
And that's a nice little shot to end this one.
And we don't ever get to find out who was sitting third. It's a victory for the Heggestads. They move on to the championship round starting tomorrow. They get the night off. For Ford and Campbell, they'll be back on the ice later in B event action. Still looking for one of those 8 playoff spots. We will have all of the action, all of the games right here for you on the Curling Stadium. You'll have all of the games available to stream and commentary on selected features. I want to thank you for joining us here this afternoon. On behalf of myself, Shawn, Joyce, and my partner, Marty Thompson, we want to thank you for joining us and hope to see you later on for more of this great action from the Montana's North Bay mixed doubles.
Handcrafted in Canada, Hardline's Ice Pad has revolutionized curling for over a decade. Engineered with top-tier precision and durability, it is backed by an unmatched 10-year warranty. Designed for curlers at all levels to sweep effortlessly with maximum efficiency, it is trusted by the world's best curlers, including Olympic and world champions. It is quite simply the best broom in the game. Hardline. Join the revolution.
How far do you have to travel to have an experience that's truly northern? Not as far as you might think. North Bay, Ontario. Truly northern experiences are closer than you think. Visit tourismnorthbay.com.